We have passed the halfway point here at Daytona, and we're seeing a few trucks as they're getting ready to come back to the green flag, come onto pit road. Looks like they're going to be topping off with fuel. Let's go back to pit road and Chris DeVota.
Johnny Sauter's coming in. They took 4 tires on their last stop. They're coming in to top off for fuel, which is appropriate. He's carrying a sticker for Bryson's Fuel, supporting childhood cancer. Hermie?
Gale's taking 4 tires, Krista, filling up with fuel and a small air pressure adjustment, a little bit free at the beginning of this run. Ray?
Down on my end, Hermie, I only saw 1 truck come in here, and the reason most people stayed out, they really need to get to lap 67 to be in the window to go the distance in this race. So I think most of the front runners are looking for at least 15 more laps in this race before they come in and pit for the final time.
But Phil, I like what some of these guys have done here. Ty Dillon came in, got 4 tires. We saw the choice by some teams, Cale Gale, get 4 tires. I'm done with tires now. I'm just going to get me some gas in a bit and have that track position that I desperately need at the end.
This time it'll be James Busher who'll lead the field back to the green flag. We'll see that when we return to Daytona.
Vi passar på med ett break till eftersom det är gul flagg. James Busher som är teamkamrat med Miguel Palumbo har ju tagit över som vi ser. Han håller i den ledningen också och vi får se om de kan teama ihop sig och försöka dra ifrån resten av fältet. Vi har som sagt ett depåstopp kvar att göra efter det här. Och det kan ju vara väldigt avgörande hur man sköter det stoppet. Många har valt att gå in nu för att de som ligger längst bak i fältet för att kunna göra ett snabbare depåstopp nästa gång. Det vill säga man fyller på med så mycket soppa som möjligt nu, så tar det inte lika lång tid nästa gång man måste komma in och förhoppningsvis kanske också bara byta 2 däck. Då kan man tjäna faktiskt ett antal sekunder på den manövern. Och för vissa så är det ju inte så mycket att välja på. Man måste chansa. Kan man inte vinna på banan så kanske man kan göra någonting strategiskt för att ta hem det hela istället. Vi har också fått upp på 3:e platsen Jason White. Och vi har då Brad Keselowski på 4:e platsen just nu. Vad har vi sen då? Justin Lofton, ett namn som jag inte känner igen sedan tidigare, men de andra där, bland annat då Brad Keselowski, är ju ganska bekant för oss som tittar på Sprint Cup ofta. Vi har ju också kört kval för Daytona 500 och snabbast av alla var faktiskt Carl Edwards. Och näst snabbast hans teamkamrat Greg Biffle. De 2 startar längst fram nu när vi ska köra The Great American Race. Ska bli kul att se hur det går. Fordarna har ju känt sig lite förfördelade tidigare, men kanske har kommit med lite bättre aerodynamik. Gjort några små förändringar och fått upp farten på superspeedways. Annars så har Dale Earnhardt Jr. varit snabb också och Tony Stewart varit en av de som har synts mest när det gäller Sprint Cup.
Welcome back. The field will begin lining up 2 by 2 for this restart. Out in front of the field, it's James Busher, Miguel Paludo, Jason White, Brad Keselowski, and Justin Lofton. They're your top 5. When James Busher comes to the green flag, he may have a strategy. He and his crew chief were talking about it on the radio. We listened in.
Make sure he gets down and leaves the 19 out there. We can't slow down too much to do it. Just like we did the last time. It'll work.
Just like we did the last time.
I think that means when we get down to turn 1, maybe Miguel Paludo will take the lead back. Those 2 trucks on the front row don't want to run side by side and have the chance of Paludo getting shuffled back. They want to be teammates at the front. I believe that's the strategy like won me the race here a year ago. Maybe Busher's going to drag a little bit on the start, let Paludo pull ahead and dive back to the bottom.
He said just like we did last time, and that's exactly what happened last time, just reverse order.
These guys are sneaky, Phil.
They are sneaky.
I wonder
we're listening.
I wonder if Brad Kez knows what's getting ready to happen right in front of him.
Still following some of you, following us on Twitter. How about this, Delana Harvick? says, well, this is a first. Kevin Harvick and I are watching the truck race on speed from the bus. That's right. KHI no longer involved in the Camping World Truck Series.
He looks plumb comfy.
He does.
I think Delane has taken that picture, by the way. Chris Stavoda, how are you?
Well, I'm doing okay. We're enjoying this truck race tonight, and so is Travis Kvapil. Remember, he is a former series champion. They have a lot of experience in that Robbie Benton Racing truck. Robbie Benton Racing making their truck series debut. Of course, that organization knows the frustration and agonization of not making the Daytona 500. They attempted all 3 races here, but Travis Kvapil trying to do them right tonight.
You know, Travis Kvapil has 2 runner-up finishes here in the Camping World Truck Series.
And we saw that first one.
Yes, we did.
Back in 2003, how close he came to winning this race, but it was Rick Crawford who got to the checkered flag first, but only by about 2 feet.
When you lose an inch is like a mile. You're still second. This place is all about winning, and that's what every one of these guys have on their mind. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to pull off this restart like we heard them talking about.
We've had one incident where trucks got into each other. That brought out our first caution. We've had 2 other cautions, though, both for debris. Now it's time for the green flag to go back in the air. We're back underway.
Look at all the fans standing up for this restart here at Daytona. There goes the move. Watch Paludo dive to the bottom.
Will Keselowski continue, though, and try to keep that momentum up so he opens a spot for himself?
He's going to try to, but I don't think it's going to work unless he gets a little help from behind by Timothy Peters. He needs to get there quick.
Timothy Peters coming and closing the gap quickly between he and Brad Keselowski as they're working their way on that outside line. We'll see if that will work for those 2 to go 2 by 2 on the outside.
So far, Daytona is Miguel Paludo and James Buscher's personal little playground. They're having everything just like they want it.
We saw Timothy Peters give that 19 of Brad Keselowski a little bit of a shove.
But tick, 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 Rick. Every lap that goes by, the more desperate those cats on the outside are going to become. You can see them already 2 wide, back about the 7th or 8th spot.
See those trucks moving around. That was Grant Enfinger.
Miguel Paludo back in front of the field. James Buscher in second. Jason White, Justin Lofton, and Max Gresham now in the 5th spot.
Brad Keselowski still on the outside, has Timothy Peters, Brendan Gaughan behind him, trying to make something happen.
See Brendan Gaughan side drafting, and that number 2 down on the inside.
Yeah, and when
went up the middle too.
As soon as Brendan wanted his spot back,
it looks as though Brendan was able to make the pass on that 17 of Timothy Peters. He actually
went
passed him on the inside. Yeah, we haven't sseen a lot of middle passes in this race yet.
We're getting ready to see a whole lot of passes in a lot of different places we haven't seen yet, Rick.
Brendan Gaughan
halfway now
on the back bumper of that 19 of Brad Keselowski. Can they make the outside line move?
Everybody knows they have to make another pit stop. Even the guys that came in on this most recent caution still have to make one more pit.
We saw some guys topping off at the end of that pit stop, maybe thinking that they can stretch it, but that would be a long ways to go. Right.
Brendan Gaughan came on the radio moments ago and he said, guys, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is my truck is awesome in the draft. It absolutely pulls up and I love it. But the bad news is it doesn't push very well. And in the last couple laps, that could be a big problem.
He needs to work it out where he gets pushed then.
Yeah.
If you're only smart enough to figure all that out, right, Phil?
In a split second.
He's giving a good push there to Brad Keselowski, and you can see the ground they make.
Making up a lot of ground right now. You see the gap they put on Timothy Peters, who is the truck behind Brendan, up on the top right of your screen.
First time we've seen Parker Kligerman starting to wander up toward the front. I know he'd like to get up there behind his truck owner, Brad Keselowski. Look at there. Is that 3 wide?
Well, Mike Skinner was thinking about going through the middle. That's Grant Enfinger on the outside, Clay Greenfield on the inside.
Skinner got that run. We talk about the slingshot move coming back. Skinner was able to get the run, but nowhere to go with it.
There's Rick Crawford coming up the inside of the Super Seal Chevrolet.
If there ever is a gap up the middle and you got to push her, that's a good way to go. You can make ground up the middle, but you got to have some help.
Keselowski still on the outside, leading that outside line. Behind him, Brendan Gaughan in the 2. Still on the bottom of the racetrack out in front of this field, Miguel Paludo, James Buscher, Jason White, Justin Lofton, and Max Gresham. Take a look at Todd Bodine's telemetry.
Saw Brad Keselowski's side drafting off Ron Hornaday.
Did you see how well that worked? Ron was about to go by him. Brad just grabbed a little air off that right rear and slowed Ron right down. But Brendan can't quite get to the back of Brad. There was a hole there, but Brad stayed dedicated to Brendan. Didn't take that hole.
One of the trucks we haven't talked a lot about, but looks as though he's figured out on the inside line he can ride a little bit, is that 6 of Justin Lofton. How's the team doing down there, Hermie?
Well, Rick, we want to give a call to Justin Lofton and this race team. Running a very veteran-like race tonight is this 6 truck. They start at 15th and they just methodically work their way, staying on the inside, not taking any chances. When somebody moves to the high side, they feel the spot, getting spot after spot. On pit road, they got 2 tires one time. Other than that, it's been fuel only for this race team. Very calm on the radio, and they're feeling very good about their chances for a solid finish tonight.
This is a big year for Eddie Sharp Racing. He really bit the bullet and bought out a couple of the teams that Kevin Harvick had. Now he has Justin Lofton, he has Mike Skinner in the truck, as well as Cale Gale. A good, strong 3-truck team with ECR engines looking for some big things this season.
What about this Grant Enfinger cat? He's also done a nice job of filling up some holes, giving some good pushes, and making his way toward the front. We've seen him more toward the front earlier, and now he's working his way back up there. Got squeezed out. They put him in the middle. Remember, it fell all the way to the back, and now he's rebounding, rallying.
Riding along with Mike Skinner, currently running in the 23rd position. Hearing through radio chatter, the 82 of Grant Enfinger could have a right front issue right now.
It's getting on down here, boys. Starting to make some decisions. One more pit stop. Run this thing to the finish.
We're getting close now to being in that window. Maybe just a handful of laps, maybe 2 or 3 laps, and I think most people would be comfortable coming in and being done if the caution were to come out.
Nelson Piquet Jr. flew to the back as soon as they threw the green flag, and he hadn't been able to get his way to the front yet, and he's trying 3 wide on the outside there to do so.
How about Brennan going through the middle there?
Oh, sideways. Got to crash in the front.
33 of Cale Gale into the wall. It looks as though he collected the 8 of Mike Skinner as well. Damage to both of those trucks.
Big damage.
Also involved, the 07 of TJ Duke. He slides in front of another truck, gets caught up.
Talked about how hard it is sometimes to get through that tri-oval, and that's exactly what happened there. Those guys somehow got sideways.
Those teammates, Cale Gale and Mike Skinner, we were just talking about Eddie Sharp Racing.
That's his worst nightmare, isn't it, Phil?
Sure is.
Matt Crafton down on the apron. From that side, didn't look bad.
Well, from that side it does.
Yeah, a lot of damage to TJ Duke's truck.
Mike Skinner. Look at the front of that race truck.
Yeah.
Mike talked about how the community here in Daytona rallied around him, gave him the opportunity, he and Angie the opportunity to run this race, and to have it all taken away in a crash when he ran so strong all night long.
See if we can take a look at what happens here.
Oh, Enfinger moves up a little bit. Is that right?
Looked like was that Enfinger or was that Clay Greenfield? And the other red truck, number 68.
One of the red truck moved up, and Cale Gale was there. It bounced Cale sideways. Got some trucks coming to pit roads.
Take another look. Real time as they're coming into the tri-oval. It's the 7.
It's the 7 of John King. Another one of the red trucks that moved up the racetrack into Cale Gale.
Look at Matt Crafton sliding sideways. Trucks crashing behind him. Is tough in the tri-oval even when people don't move around, Phil, and that was an example of it. The 7 truck came up. Matt Crafton run over the orange cone.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has any damage. I think the orange cone is the only thing he ran into.
Sorry about that orange cone.
That was Clay Greenfield right behind that 7 truck of John King. Tough break for Eddie Sharp Racing, losing 2 of his 3 trucks.
Look at that. He just moved way up.
Hold your line. Come on through here.
Nothing Cale Gale could have done there. There's no way for him to predict. Look, they're 3 wide anyway, and watch. That 7 truck comes right up.
Do you think he was maybe trying to get to the middle? I don't know why he would. He was doing a great job staying on the bottom.
It's unfortunate for this guy. See Mike there.
Mike's got his helmet off. He's saying, push me. Get me back into the garage.
Good to see Cale out of that truck as well. We'll be all year. Cale Gale in that Ream Chevrolet.